once hailed as the king of thrillers, reclusive author Mark Adams has just finished what he swears will be his final novel, a grim and tragic end to his beloved series. But fate, in the form of a brutal snowstorm and a devoted fan, has other plans. The blizzard came fast and without mercy. A white curtain fell over the winding Colorado road as the world beyond had vanished. Mark Adams gripped the steering wheel of his black Mustang, knuckles whitening. His latest manuscript, The Hollow Smile, was on the seat beside him, bound in a red leather folder. The final chapter wasn't typed yet, just handwritten pages. This book would be the end of the Noah series. 20 years of bestseller fame, movies, book tours, he was done. He wanted out before the stories turned into a joke. But the snow had other plans. He never saw the curve. Tires screamed, the car skidded. Then flipped into a shallow ravine. The world snapped into blackness. The next day, when Mark woke up, he was in a bed. He saw warm sheets and the smell of antiseptic and lavender. But he was not in a hospital. No machines, no beeping. Wooden walls, a small room with old wallpaper peeling at the corners. A woman stood by the window knitting, late 40s, early 50s, curly brown hair in a bun. She wore a long dress like she stepped out of another era. "You're awake," she said gently, setting down the needles. "You've been sleeping for almost 2 days." Mark tried to move. His legs screamed. He gasped. "They're broken," she said, walking over. "Both of them. But don't worry, I used to be a nurse. I said them myself." Who are you?" "I'm Ruth Davis. I live up the mountains. I found you in the snow." "You saved me?" Ruth smiled. "Of course. I'm your #1 fan." Days passed. The snowstorm continued. The power flickered occasionally, but the wood stove kept the room warm. Mark was propped up in bed, dosed with painkillers Ruth provided. She fed him soup, cleaned his wounds, bathed his face with cold cloth. She was kind, attentive, devoted, and also obsessed. "I've read all the Noah novels," she gushed one evening. "Twice. Your writing is like God spoke through you." Mark gave a weak smile. "I appreciate that. I always pictured Noah looking like my late husband. Well, Noah, broad shoulders, tall, noble." Ruth would read aloud from The Hollow Smile, the unfinished manuscript she found in the wreck. Mark asked her to bring it to his editor or at least the hospital. But the phone never worked. The roads were always blocked, and Ruth's eyes, there was something behind them, like a door half cracked, hiding something monstrous. A week later, Mark awoke to find Ruth holding the final chapter. She wasn't smiling. This is how you end it," she whispered. "Noah dies, shot by the woman he loves?" "It's a tragedy," Mark said, trying to sit up. "It's about sacrifice, about—" She hurled the manuscript into the fire. He screamed, "No! What the hell are you doing?" "You can't do that to him," she shrieked. "To us, Noah is a hero, a savior. He doesn't get murdered like a dog. Mark trembled. It's fiction. Not to me, she shouted. Then her voice softened. Chillingly so. You'll rewrite it. Mark, make it right. We'll start fresh. I'll help. He stared in horror. You burned the only copy. She said, poor shit. I know, she said with pride. Now you can write it the right way. She bought a typewriter. Old, clunky, gray. Electricity, too fussy, she said. Mark's hands shook as he started to type. Every keystroke was agony, but not nearly as painful as the pressure of Ruth looming nearby, her smile fixed and watchful. She had rules. No profanity, no sex scenes, no violence against no one, and absolutely no death. She cooked lavish meals and insisted they eat together. She laughed at his jokes, even when he wasn't joking, and sometimes she'd sing to herself in the hallways, old hymns, off-key and eerie. One night, Mark tried to sneak out, crawling, hands bleeding. He made it as far as the front porch before Ruth appeared with a hammer. He woke up in bed again. This time, his ankle was shattered. You're not going anywhere until Noah lives, she whispered. Mark learned to play the game. He typed, he smiled, he flattered her decisions. He pretended to care about Noah's rebirth. But each night, when she slept, he plotted. He watched her routines, learned when she left the cabin to fetch supplies. In a drawer beneath the stove, he found matches. In a closet, canned food. In her bathroom, pills. He began to stash supplies. One night, he asked gently, "Why do you live alone?" Her smile faded. "I had a son," she said. "Caleb. He died in the hospital. They said it was pneumonia. I know better." Mark said nothing. She stared into the fire. They said I was unstable. They said I didn't understand. Caleb was chosen, like Noah, and they let him die. She looked at him, eyes glistening. "But now I have you. You were meant to crash here. Fate brought you." Mark felt like the walls closed in. He finished the new manuscript, Noah Rises. The ending was absurd. Noah survives a nuclear explosion by hiding in a refrigerator. But Ruth loved it. Tears rolled down her cheeks. "It's perfect," she whispered. "You saved him. I want to celebrate." Mark said, forcing a smile. "Wine?" Ruth agreed, elated. He crushed a handful of painkillers into her glass when she wasn't looking. She drank deeply. An hour later, she collapsed on the floor. Mark pulled himself into the kitchen, inch by inch, hand over hand. He grabbed a knife, a flashlight. He made it to the front door, but Ruth wasn't unconscious. She stood behind it, blood in her mouth from a bitten tongue. "You tricked me," she said, her voice trembling with rage and heartbreak. She raised a fire poker. They fought. It was ugly, clumsy. Pain, adrenaline, and rage. Ruth swung wildly. Mark stabbed her. Once in the shoulder, she shrieked like a wounded animal. He fell from his chair. She lunged. They struggled in the snow outside, her blood streaming in the cold. Finally, he smashed the flashlight into her temple. She crumpled. He crawled towards the road. A plow truck appeared at dawn. 6 months later, Mark sat in the hospital room, one leg in a brace, typing the true final chapter of The Hollow Smile. He refused to change the ending. Noah dies. The book hit the shelves a year later. The reviews were mixed. Some said it was bleak, rushed. Others hailed it as a haunting masterpiece. But Mark never wrote again. Sometimes at night, he dreamed of snow, of Himes in the dark, of a woman smiling in the firelight, whispering, "I'm your #1 fan." If you enjoyed the video, like and share the video and subscribe the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.